And hello again. Apologies to certain flying buddy of mine. That's his tail number there, 272 Lima Charlie. This is, by my estimation, the plane he ought to get if he wins the lottery. He would differ. He tends to prefer a King Air, but I think this kind of has it beat at this point. This is, as you know, the TBM900 by Hotstart, and it's magnificent. I've had a few glitches with it, which is why I've been a little bit tardy in posting anything here. And also, I'll be perfectly honest, I do not know how to fly a G1000 cockpit, so I'm still learning that. So to everyone who's been pushing me to do some IFR flying, believe me, I will. This makes it a pleasure, but I'm not quite ready to embarrass myself in front of my millions of fans, or dozens of fans as the case may be. But we are going to take it out for just a little proficiency run, and we're going to do it in the spirit of a General Chuck Yeager who turned 96 today, and who tweeted this. Yes, he is on Twitter. The man who broke the sound barrier in, what, 1947? Or 47. He tweets. He flies and he tweets. He said, "You won't believe it. I don't believe it myself. 96 today. How to live to 120, live to 119, and then be very, very careful. Celebrating with friends." And he gets a shout out from Buzz Aldrin, who says, "You've got 10 years on me, but congratulations." Anyway, in the spirit of both honoring and profaning his memory, we're going to do what he did countless times, which is jump in an airplane we don't know entirely enough about and just ring it out and see what it will do. What I will not be doing is anything that is Garmin intensive, because I really need to learn it, and I need to learn it because I'm going to be starting flight training in March, and I am not sure yet, but I may be doing it. A lot of flying schools give you the choice of either a 6-pack or a G1000. I am genuinely not sure what I'm going to do, and I'd love to hear some advice from people. But if I do learn a G1000, it will be all to my benefit to play around with this a little bit first. I will say that in my limited knowledge of it and operation of it, this autopilot and this setup is nothing but a pleasure. What it is, however, is very, very fiddly knob intensive. So luckily you've got this keyboard, and luckily you can also use your computer keyboard, but for the most part what you've got here is a bunch of buttons and a bunch of knobs, and at least to operate with a mouse it's a little bit fiddly. This is not a G3000 or a 750 GTNs, so neither one, unlike either one of those, it doesn't have a touch screen. It really helps to have hardware that resembles this if you're going to train, because then you develop the muscle memory. So I'm considering getting a couple of monitors that have these bezels on them and have all the knobs and switches and so forth. In the meantime, I will say that the man who designed this plane, guy named either Todorico or his real name is Sasso Kiselkov, in either case, he has programmed a whole bunch of custom logic on top of X-Plane's G1000 so that all of the distinct features for this airplane, the different engine instruments and so forth, are all present, and things like VNAV here work wondrously, so that you've got a flight plan with constraints here, and you hit VNAV, you hit the right altitude on altitude select, and it will merrily descend through all of your waypoints and hit all the constraints and hit them all perfectly, and it is truly a wonder to behold. However, it is a wonder that I am as of yet unfamiliar, so I'm not going to torture you with that, with me fucking around with that sort of thing. However, I will show you what's just utterly insane about this airplane. Everything on it you can break, so and you have to repair and you have to pay for, in essence. So if you go into the maintenance hangar here, we've got a new airframe, and if you click on engine here and you open the engine, it will give you the condition of every single meaningful part on here. And you've got ways built in to break it. For instance, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to break something right now, right here, so you can see what happens. I've turned off all the warnings, so it's not going to tell me, hey, you're breaking something, but I'm just going to do something and I'm going to break it. Now, you might think that there is no harm to be done here by sitting down in the airplane and going, what's this do? And futzing with this and moving that and just making sure that the control is free and clear, because, hey, why wouldn't you do that? Hey, ho. Okay, now, in a minute when we start it up, you'll see that the shit is going to hit the fan. What we're going to do is we're just going to fly around the Seattle area here. We're in Dravetsky Designs Seattle here, so it is spectacular. We're at Renton Field, which is where 737s are born, and there is downtown Seattle, and over yonder is Boeing Field, and actually yonder being right here, and over here is SeaTac, and over across Puget Sound is Bainbridge Island. And I think what we'll do is we'll fly to Bainbridge Island and we'll make a short landing. I'm sorry, did I say Bainbridge? It's Vashon Island, and we will land at Vashon Municipal, which is a small grass strip that's notoriously nasty. But anyway, let's get started, and just a warning, what will happen is right now is the thing will be broken. But first, let's get the parking brake on and make sure that all of our other switches are down here. That should be down. Starter should be on off. This is the only one that should be up. Ignition should be on auto. We will turn our crash bar up first, which is going to start the standby avionics. What we'll do is we will remove the pitot tubes, remove the static wicks, remove the static ports, shut the doors and remove the ties and caps. And because our chocks are on, our brakes are on, we'll remove the chocks, and we'll get set to go. And you'll see in a second, this will be broken. The other thing is that some people are encountering corruption on this display and that display, and if that's the case, you have to reload the aircraft, and I'll just reload this. So anyway, cautions. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll turn it on battery power. That'll start our main instruments here. And let's just see if this works.
Tog system test, okay.
Everything on this plane is simulated, just about. And you can break almost everything, as you'll see in a minute. But just make sure this starts up, gives us a valid map. No, you see this is corrupted here. And that is, see, it's corrupted there. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to fix this right now. So let's fix it. Reload current aircraft and art. It turns out that the cure for this didn't cure it, so we're going to cure it this way. And I'm sorry you have to witness this, but there's no way of telling in advance whether it'll break this way. And for most people, it does not break at all. So I'm kind of the exception here, and it's entirely a matter of chance, and I'm sorry you have to witness this, ladies and gentlemen. Wait for it to start, and what will happen is it'll start up, and you'll see that with any luck the map will be correct, and everything will be copacetic. And then the question will be whether the thing that I broke will still remain broken after reloading the aircraft, and I don't know the answer to that, but we'll see. All right, here we go. All right, so there's our map. There's our bogus warning. There's our master warning. All right, let's see where we are now. Okay, crash bar is up, battery is up. Turn on the boost pump right now, and you can hear it. Ready? Okay, there we go. Give us another caution. We'll get rid of this. We'll make sure that our brake is still on, and it is, and then we'll start. And you can also blow up the engine this way. You can blow up the engine by turning it on to pulling it off of fuel cutoff too soon. And I can't humanly do it fast enough because it generally spins up too fast. So what let's do is let's blow up the engine this way. So I'm going to already put the fuel on, and let's see if we can blow up the engine this way. This is what's called a hot start. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've just blown up the engine. All right, so let's shut off the fuel, turn off the power, get a good view of the carnage, and in a minute, let's look at our damage here. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do this to a perfectly well-functioning airplane, but let's I don't know if the fire's going to die down here. No, I think this is going to well and truly consume us. So let's go to Airframe Manager. Now let's go to Maintenance Hangar here. All right, well, as you can see, we're going to have to replace all this stuff. All right, so that is replaced. Let's see what else we broke. And that was $200,000 right there. Okay, landing gear is fine. Okay, that's good. Avionics, fine. Lights should be fine unless okay, airframe. Okay. Looks like we're good there. Let's see if we burned anything else up. No, okay. All right, so crash bar is down. Now let's do it right. Let me just turn the aux boost pump off for a minute. And let's make sure we're in fuel cutoff. And we are. Let's make sure we're on one tank or the other. And we are, doesn't matter which. All right, and now let's try to do it right. And we may have to reload the aircraft again, so my apologies in advance. But that's what happens. And that's what would happen in the real thing, and it would be no laughing matter. So it's pretty cool that that's simulated. And looks like we're back in business, I think, I hope. It's quite an airplane. And it is modeled rather well, as you can, as you can see. Even the lettering on the tires is rendered. It's quite a machine. All right, we'll kill our cautions. We'll turn our battery on again. I'm not using the checklist because, again, it's just a matter of being fiddly with the mouse. But this is pretty much the official starting procedure. I'm not taking any shortcuts here. There are things you would do in the real plane, which would be a lot of testing of safety features. And let's just see if everything is okay. Come on. There we go. Okay, so we're good. All right, so that much is good. Let's just make sure our bleeds are off, our AC is off, our prop area is clear. We'll shut, turn off, take off the chocks. We'll close the door. All right, there we go. And now we will do it right. Aux boost pump comes on. The nav lights are automatically on when there's power, but we'll turn these on. And now both are on, and we'll get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip on the starter switch, hold it for 2 seconds. We're going to wait for about 13% NG. We're going to introduce fuel. We're going to count to 30 and make sure that this right here gets at least up to 30 after 30 seconds, which, unless there's something grievously wrong, it will happen. That will then kick off the starter, and then we will introduce more fuel. We'll run it up to flight idle, and that will take care of that. And here we go. So battery is on, this is off, these are off. I can turn this on, it's not going to kill anybody. That's off, this is off for now, and ignition is on auto, so we're going to go 1001, 1002, and there we go. We're going to keep our eye on that. Okay, that's about 13, there we go, and up. We're now going to monitor this, and if it doesn't in the next 20 seconds get to 30, we're going to flip this thing back down, but as you can see, it is there already. So we're going to wait a minute till this changes scale. We're going to make sure this doesn't spike. And there we go, and now we've got ignition cutoff, and so boom and boom. And now we're going to watch for a secondary rise. Going to make sure that the props are governed and they get up to their proper speed. And in a second, we should be good to go. So while I'm at it, I'm just going to set my takeoff trim. Okay, there we are. We'll kill that caution. And you'll see our bleeds are off, and now you'll see that message goes away. We're going to turn our inertial separator on, our pitot heats on. I'm going to acknowledge that caution. We're going to turn the main generator on. Auxiliary boost pump can go to auto. Fuel selector, which automatically shifts between the left and right tank, can go to auto. AP trims goes to on, and our lights can come on now. Okay, that's good. Upstairs, downstairs, we turn on the AC, and the bleeds go to auto, and come on. Some of the manipulator is a little bit funky. There we go, that's on auto. We've got battery amp caution, and that just means that the battery is charging at the moment. And let me make sure our flaps operate. They do. Okay, and now we are clean and basically ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'll set an altitude of, say, 3,500 feet. Not a bad place to be as we hoon around the skies. Our altimeter is 2957, I believe. It's a cloudy Seattle day. All right, 20 feet above sea level, that checks out, that's fine. We'll got wind data set up, that's fine. And that's really all we need at the moment. I've got really nothing else set up on the autopilot. It's pretty straightforward. We can experiment with it in a minute or two. The important thing to remember with an aircraft like this is it is, well, in this small space here, it's a little bit longer than an average plane, where you normally have 300 horsepower at the most of six-cylinder reciprocal action. You've got a turbine and you've got 850 horsepower. So this thing hauls ass. There's no other way to put it. And that can get you in trouble pretty quick. On the other hand, it can get you out of some trouble pretty quick, which is kind of nice, as you'll see. So what we'll do is we will taxi here, and what little I know about this is that this is all at your fingertips, literally. Only in my case it's not. We're going to squawk altitude here. I'm going to leave everything else more or less as is. What we'll do is we will set toga on flight on the throttle there, and that does not engage any auto throttle function. What that really does in this plane is simply set the flight director for a climb. Now you notice we're taxiing pretty fast, and that is because we are in flight idle mode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle us into taxi range, which is a beta range, and you can hear it, and the further down we go there, the closer it gets to reverse. And in a minute I'll just put this in full reverse and you'll see the plane will come to a stop. But we'll keep it in taxi range, which is a kind of flat beta range, and that's basically all it takes to taxi. This airplane can take off with a full load on a 2,500 foot runway, give or take, and we're not full, so we can probably take off and land in about 1,800 feet. And as you'll see, it doesn't take much. So it takes a little bit of action on the rudder pedals to make sure you don't go skidding off the runway. Initially, the tendency is to pull to the right, and that is followed by a tendency as things start moving a little faster to pull to the left. So there we go. Our lights are on. Our fuel and power is where we want it. We're going to slowly advance the power to about 90-95% torque. You will discover that when we get to about 90% torque, we'll be pretty much ready to rotate. So it really, things happen fast on this plane. We'll get our heading bugs squared up there. Again, there's all sorts of stuff you can do here. You can look at charts, you can run checklists, you can we're in our start thing, go to the next checklist. I don't know how to do that, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. You can set all kinds of different indications on this map here. For example, you can throw terrain on, you can throw airways on, you can do all sorts of neat stuff. Our pressurization is all automatic right now. I haven't set a landing altitude, but it's not going to matter. We're not going to really pressurize very much, and we're not going to worry about it. So we're just going to depart out of here, and we're going to make a right turn over the lake. And again, as you see, as we go here, you know, I should have done a control system check, so let me just do that now. All right, that's good, and that's good, and that's good. So make sure my yaw damper is off, and it is. You can't land or take off with it. Everything else is fine. Maybe we'll play around with the flight director a little bit. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's set a heading of about 15 degrees to our right. So there we go. And I don't like that you can't disable the zoom. I have to request that of Todorico because they do it on the leading edge Saab, and it's an invaluable thing. And we'll just get into a heading select mode. You'll notice that changes. That's fine. All right, let's go flying. So we're just going to slowly and smoothly advance the power here. Notice that there's a slight pull to the left. You see that? Okay, we're going to check our power. And already you see we're at almost 60 knots. Okay, so there we go. Now we're pulling the other way, and we'll just rotate. And this does want to fly. Okay, tap the brakes, gear up. Check our power. We're actually a little bit low here. We'll follow the flight director around. And bring up the flaps already. You can see we're climbing at 2,000 feet per minute. We're not even trying. Just bring the power up just a little bit there. All right, now we'll go into flight level change mode, which is an IAS mode. And we'll climb at 134 knots, and we're still going up at 2,700 feet per minute. So as you can see, let's get the autopilot in here. As you can see, we go about our business pretty quickly. Just make sure the speed is stabilized, and we'll do the old John Fly shot here. And already we're basically going up like a bat out of hell. So let me just, in the time we've got remaining, let me go into vertical speed mode and see if I can just limit our vertical speed a bit so I can ease out of this climb a little bit more smoothly. There we go. And I guess we're over, Jesus, I don't know, we're over like Redmond or something. And we'll just come around a little bit to our left and buzz Seattle. Now, at the moment I'm flying with the autopilot. I really don't have to. It's a pleasure to hand fly. As a matter of fact, let's just wait till we level off here. The only thing I don't like about this is where you sit, you've got a pillar. And so you kind of have to crane your head forward to get a good view out. That is a radome, by the way. We do have a radar here. All right, now, as you can see, at about this power in a second, we're going to be going very, very fast. Let me just show you. I'm just going to basically bring up close to max power here. And I'm just watching my temperatures more than anything else. This far down, a low altitude where the air is thick, we're torque limited. At different altitudes you might be temperature limited. But okay, there we go. I mean, we're hauling the mail here. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do right now, as we head towards Payne Field, we're moving that fast. I think that's Payne Field right there in the distance, which is where they make 747s. Yeah, that is Payne Field. Jesus. This is faster than you would normally fly on a Sunday, but not for this airplane. Let me just take the autopilot out. Turn the flight director off. There we go. I'm almost out of down trim, so what I'm going to do at the moment, as I trim this out, I still have to tweak the autopilot a little bit here, is, there we go, just get trimmed out here. Also have to tweak my yoke profile. Try a little steep turn. I am still getting the feel for the sight lines out of the airplane and what the visual references should be. So that is something. The controls are very stiff at this speed. Let's just roll off some power. There's a little bit of lag because it's a turboprop. So you sort of have to stay ahead of that. And let's just see how it stalls. It should be pretty benign. Famous last words. But I've found that if you fly this plane gently and respectfully, it will not bite you. So let me just turn off the yaw damper here. Get our angle of attack up. Retrim a little bit. And
Landing gear. Landing gear.
Yeah.
Landing gear. Stall. Landing stall. Landing gear. Stall.
Oh, the hell with that. I'm just gonna pull into it.
Landing gear. Stall.
Okay. There's a stick shaker. There's the wallow, and there's a little wing drop.
Stall. Landing gear. Stall.
And a little bit of a desire to spin.
Stall. Stall. Stall.
But not too bad. Now, this plane does not tolerate negative G's well. It'll stop feeding fuel, but you can fly inverted for a moment. You can roll it if you want. You know, it's kind of a dumb thing to do, but if you want to do dumb things, you can do it. It's not equipped for aerobatics, but it will, as I said, it will land on short strips. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly out to Vashon over there. Now, actually, what we'll do first is we'll spin this thing. Shall we spin to the left or the right? Let's spin to the right, which is a little harder to do. All right, so we'll put ourselves into a climb. We'll aggravate this a little bit.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Getting slow. Stall. Landing gear. 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 Stall.
Oh, it's hard to make it spin to the right. But, all right, we'll pull out of it there. Wings level. There we are.
Landing gear.
Ah, it's not unpleasant. There's
Up. Think rate. Think rate.
yeah. There's nothing horrible about this airplane. Let's just see where we are. And it flies nicely when you fly slowly. So there's nothing that will really screw you up except that things happen faster because you're flying faster. All right. right, so there is Vashon over there. Let's just climb a little bit here. It's hard to find this little airstrip. But we'll do our best. It's not very well rendered in the scenery that I've got for it. In prepared, it is. There's some Orbix scenery available for it. Freeware. That's really wonderful. Let's just see where we're going here. This is Active Sky Next, by the way, or Active Sky XP, whatever they call it. We'll just climb up to around 3,000 and head for the island. There are actually two airstrips on Vashon. There's Vashon Municipal, and then there's Wax Orchards, and they're both pretty cool. Unfortunately, they're really not especially well rendered, but you know, what are you going to do? I don't know what this little blob of an island here is, but it's pretty cool too. Now notice we're going 140 knots and we've got 40% torque, and this airplane still wants to climb. So it's a little hard to trim out, but I'm doing my best here. A lot of things to tweak with the yoke and the control profiles and things like that. But once you make it happen, it really flies beautifully. I mean, you know, one thing I haven't tested, let's try its stability here. So let me just first get it fully trimmed out. A little rudder trim going here. A little hard to get it perfectly trimmed out. Notice that. It's a little bit busy. I find I'm always pulling or pushing just a little bit. Alright, so let's just turn, upset it, let go. It's got sort of neutral stability, so when you give it that upset on the roll axis, it basically just continues doing what it's doing, but it doesn't steepen and it doesn't really shallow out. Let's see about the yaw axis here, but first let's level out again. Give it a good little shove there, and it should have more positive stability, and it does. Planes generally do on the roll axis. They recover themselves better because they've got big fat wings with dihedral that tend to help level them out. And on the pitch axis, let's see. Neutral to positive. Okay, so all those things pretty much bode for a stable airplane. So it's nice to know that your $4 million airplane is fairly well designed. The airport should be right around there. Actually there. Let's double check here. Yeah, okay, that's it right there. Good. Sometimes I miss it. Frequently I miss it. I know we should fly a pattern, but there's so many trees on this goddamn island that I guarantee you that as soon as I get into a pattern, I will lose the strip. So we'll come in. This airplane can lose airspeed pretty damn quickly. So we're going to certainly let it. We want to be coming down at about 20%, 17, 18% torque, and put in a notch of flaps right now. Put in the gear, that'll counteract our float. I'm going to slow down. Now, we'd normally approach at about 90-ish, 95, but in this case we're going to ultimately approach at about 80 to 85, because as you'll see, it's a short strip. The other thing you'll see is there's a tree right in the final approach, so we're going to have to dart to the right of it and then slip ourselves around it. Get our second notch of flaps out here, Those are balloons, I believe, in the background.
Airspeed.
Alright, so we're about 24% torque right now. And I'm pitching for about 85-ish. It's a grass strip. I don't want to float. At the same time, I don't want to smack it on, and I want to try to keep the nose high for as long as I can in the rollout. And you can see that tree right there is going to try to make life difficult for us.
Terrain ahead.
And also, this airport apparently isn't in the database, so it's going to assume
Terrain
we're about to
ahead.
crash.
100.
Terrain ahead.
And there's a little bit of a gust going on, but we'll
Terrain
make the
ahead.
best of it.
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead.
Okay, about 83 knots.
Terrain ahead.
Start rolling off power.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Airspeed.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Stall. Getting slow. Stall.
Now that was ugly.
Pull up.
That was a little case of the yips. Here we are. And let's just see how bad that looked. Lost my nerve at the end. All right, so this is what happens when you turn a stable approach into who the hell knows what. Damn near perfect there. Oh boy. Now, will we be able to redeem ourselves? Hang on, I really want to see that. I'm not quite that far back. All right, so here we go. Look at that, perfect, steady as a rock. Yo. Oh, so close. You know what? Let's fly a pattern here. Let's just do this right. Yeah, butter my ass. All right. Let's get our takeoff trim about right. And, you know, I've never taken off from here, so let's see if we can do it. Damn it. I want to do this right. All right, you see, I'm nice and stable except when it counts.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
All right, let's try this again, shall we?
Terrain. Too low. 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 Terrain.
love the scenery. All right, so back into the wild blue yonder we go, and we're going to do this right, damn it. I cannot have this stain on my reputation. Bad enough I got a stain on my slacks today. Bit of a turkey sandwich, I know. Turkey sandwiches will do that to you. All right. Round and round we go. There's that little blob of an island. I may just get a little higher here. I want to be able to see where I'm going. Alright, that should do us. You have a flight path vector here, which the way the lift and drag on this plane works sometimes ends up above where your nose is pointing, which is pretty cool, actually. Alright, here we go. I'm going to get complaints about my altitude discipline and my flying, but it's a new airplane and we all got to learn somehow. Here we go again. And I'm going to nail it this time. We're going to get the speed down and we're going to get off the goddamn gas in time this time. Okay, one notch. Gear down. There we are. Come back to about 25% torque. Get the other notch in. Okay, ease off the back pressure. Let the plane naturally slow. A little high this time. You can see the flight path vector is actually above our attitude, which means that the power and flaps work here. You have to work pretty hard to make it not fly. All right.
500.
Oh, here we go. A little fast now. Let the speed bleed off. Okay, about 85. Just going to trickle the power out, get over that tree, and around this one.
Airspeed. Minimum.
There we go. And into beta. Oh, like a champ. Now, what we'll do is watch a good replay for a change. I'm going to do it courtesy of the old Hawaii 5-0 shot. There we go. Now this is a landing I'd be proud to take home to Mother. This is textbook. All right, here we go. All right, I'm loving it already. Actually, to everyone's credit, the tree is also there in the prepared version, in the Orbix version. Okay, I clear one tree. Miss the other. I don't know if it's there in real life. I tend to doubt it. And look at that. A little bit of a float. Probably could have put it down a little bit sooner, but I'm not complaining. This airplane is really not meant to fly into this airstrip, so as they say, yeah, a little bit of a float. I'll take it. Probably come in even slower than that, but can't really complain. All right, shall we try wax? Let's try wax orchards. All right. Now, can I do this on one notch of flaps? I don't know. We can always try. Get our trim set. Do a basic short field takeoff here. God, this thing moves. This is so much fun to fly. It really is. There we go. Gear up. Look at that. We're at 110 knots already and we're barely off the ground.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Yeah, you think? I'll work the rudder trim here too.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
All right, we'll do a little 180 here in a second and we'll hit wax orchards, which is a beautiful strip in real life. It's not bad looking either in this. It does take a lot of rudder to counteract the torque and all the rest of this plane. There's a lot of wing and there's a lot of engine. And a big, big, big ass vertical stabilizer. Alright, round and round she goes, and if I can remember where Wax Orchards is, that's where we'll stop. I believe it's that big clearing over there. If not, we'll ask one of the balloonists. We'll ask one of the Montgolfier brothers. Monsieur, où est l'aérodrome? Alright, so there we are. Having done a nice little 180 out of there, there's the airport. And I believe that's our next airport. Yes. And we are a little low. We'll fix that right soon, though. Alright, that looks pretty good. So where is the aerodrome, as they call it? That looks like it's it. Alright, we'll do a touch and go here.
Landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear. 500.
Terrain, ahead.
Okay, both notches of flaps. Let the speed bleed
Terrain,
off.
ahead.
This is a longer
Terrain,
strip, but not
ahead.
by much.
Terrain.
And again, it's kind of obstructed on this end.
Terrain, ahead.
scraping over these trees.
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Ah, that was firm. Okay, up one notch. Trim down a little. Come back on the power. Up we go. Tap the brakes, gear up. And we'll fly to Tacoma International Airport. Not Tacoma International, I don't know what it's called. It's right at the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. God, there's so many fjords here, it's hard to tell where you're going. Let's see, where's the bridge? Oh boy. I'm lost in Puget Sound, ladies and gentlemen. I could always use my Garmin map here. The problem is I don't think the bridge is modeled properly, so I'm not going to be able to see it. And it could be that right there, because that looks like the airport right there. I can't see a beacon, but I think we're heading in the right direction. Yeah, it is. Okay. So we'll enter downwind here on the 45. Actually pretty close to pattern altitude. Yeah, that is kind of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, except it's not really. Here, as a matter of fact, let's enter a right downwind here. And no, let's cross midfield, do a left downwind here. Let's slow down a little. Yeah, that is, for what it's worth, that's the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in X-plane. And that is the Tacoma International Airport there. Yep, there we go. All right. Do we have an airstrip there that I can actually land on? Yeah, I guess we do. Yeah, we do. Okay, cool. Cross midfield and we'll go into a left downwind here. This is where line of sight really kind of comes in, and there we go, I've overcooked it. I should remember this from my days in P3D, that basically you want to skirt the edge of this island here, come about out almost all the way into the sound there, and I'm a little low. Takes a lot of rudder in this plane too. going to make this a continuous turn to final here because I think I am a little bit wide. Of course, we don't want to stall and spin. Yeah, I'm a little wide and I'm a lot high. Okay, let's see if we can... No, I don't think we can slip it in. Well, you know what? Let's try.
Think rate. Think rate.
Oh, yeah,
Think
we
rate.
can. Of course we can.
Think rate. Think rate. 500. Pull up. Pull up.
I'm going to trickle some power in.
Think rate.
Ooh, a little unstable.
Think rate.
A lot unstable.
Right.
There we go. Get into the groove here. There we are. Oh, this thing flies like a dream. It really does. I'm a little slow. And I'm sinking a little fast.
Minimum. Airspeed.
And flare just a little too high. Okay, get us into beta range here. And I don't think we have a taxiway. I'll just turn around here. Shall we replay that? Yeah, I think we shall. A little, ooh, differential braking. There we go. All right. Set the parking brake. Oh, I don't know if it'll replay with the parking brake on. All right, let's find out. All right, this is the ugly portion of it, but here we go. Here's where I decide, oh my God, I've made a terrible, terrible mistake. But this airplane can get very draggy if you want it to be. And you see we settle down there, and you really do settle down there. It flies very, well, it flies very gently once you give it a little nice treatment. Here, let's set up our old favorite here. Once you give it a little love, it loves you back. So here we go. So we settle down. And this is about 85 knots, which is a little on the slow side. But you know, it seems to make it work. You know what? That's not a bad landing. That's flared just about right. That is not a bad landing at all. That's hard to complain. Little float. Ah, it's hard not to like that. Come on. All right. So let us now head out towards Puget Sound. We'll land back at Vashon going the other direction. Okay, get everything ready to go. It's just hellacious to run this engine up and just watch it go wild. I mean, gear up and flaps up is almost instantaneous. Uh-oh. Could have that IFR flight that everybody wants me to have. Thank you, Active Sky. Alright, we'll turn north here. And yeah, that is kind of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Not quite. Alright, back over Vashon Island, and thank goodness for the balloons. At least we know where we're going. Again, that's, well, McCord Air Force Base is around there, and then SeaTac. And we'll just blast our way along at about 1,500 feet. Fuel imbalance. It's set to auto, is it not? Alright, well, switch tanks. Let's see what our fuel quantities are. A little more on the left than the right, but it's supposed to switch back and forth. Alright, well, never mind. Gotta fix this trim a little bit here. It is an airplane, maybe, that that's better flown on autopilot, but I can't bring myself to believe that. I don't think any plane is better flown on autopilot. That's because I just like flying them. But I've noticed that I am a little busier on the controls than I would be otherwise. And I think the horizon reference, yeah, I guess is about there. I mean, look at this. I'm at 35% torque. We're going almost 160 knots. It's just, it's almost not fair. It's not fair to the other planes. We should just slow down so that the other planes have a chance. Alright, if I'm not mistaken, that is the airport right there. Okay, I'm like right in between trim positions here. I have to tweak that a little bit. That's not hard to do. Is that Vashon Municipal? It is, it is. Hallelujah. All right. I wonder what happens if you hit the plane. Trim is a little bit sensitive. Look at that. That's pretty. All right, down to business. Turn on to final here. Let's see what kind of frames we're getting. 40 frames, not bad. This is some pretty grueling scenery too. Alright, gear down.
Landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear.
Okay, notch. Now, I've never landed in this direction. I don't know what the obstacles are like, but it doesn't look good. I think there are power lines here. At least in the Orbix scenery there are, and that's pretty cool. It's got those little balloon looking things on the power line so you don't run into them. And again, we're kind of going to drag it in a little bit. I believe that is Vachon, the city. I don't know. And again, you can see our flight path vector is just a little above our attitude.
Terrain ahead.
Yeah, we know.
Terrain ahead.
500.
Terrain ahead.
More fuel imbalance here.
Terrain ahead.
I'll tell you, I do
Terrain
want
ahead.
to keep flying this airplane. I will say that. It's really something.
Terrain ahead.
It makes you want to fly it.
Terrain
Okay,
ahead.
about 85 knots here. Again,
Terrain
got a displaced threshold, which we need to think about. That is
Terrain ahead.
mainly
Pull up.
because of
Terrain ahead.
the
Pull up.
trees.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Airspeed.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Oh, this plane is such a pleasure to fly. This is so nice. And I think that was our best landing yet. Look at that. 48 feet per second over obstacles. God, look at that. It makes me feel like I'm better than I am. Better than I have a right to be. That's freaking awesome. I like this plane. All right. Boy, can't beat this with a stick. This is better than flying into Lufker and Spadaro on Long Island. This is fun. All right, ladies and germs, watch this one. Look at that, just smooth as silk. Well, till I almost hit the trees. Mother McCree, look at this. I shouldn't have floated it that much. It's a short strip. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have ought to done that. Still, it's pretty. Oh, birds too. We almost hit birds. That's a lot of birds. Now a little bit of a float. Yeah, like I'm gonna complain. It should have been firmer. It really should have, actually. This airplane really wants to fly. Look at that. Yeah, should have been firmer. Firmer? Hardly even know her. Alright, that's no good. You know, you really... This is more fun than humans should be allowed to have. It's just great. There are not many airplanes that sort of restore your faith in fake airplanes, but this is certainly one of them. And it's a challenge, and it's a challenge to do it right. And I know I'm not doing it perfectly, but it's just fun nonetheless. Oh, you just want to marry a landing like that. It's so nice. All right, I gotta buy one of these. I definitely gotta buy one of these. And in any case, on that note, I will leave you for now and get this airplane, and see you next time. Bye-bye.